And welcome to this week's very exciting episode of the UFO Show. My name is Adam. I'm here, as always, with Andy. Andy, how are you doing today?
Good. Excited for the announcement today. How are you?
I'm good. So before we start off, once again, we are sponsored by bet99.com. So if you head over to the website, www.area51sportsnetwork.com/betting, you can get $600 off of your initial deposit. So that means that if you bet 600, you get 600 back. Pretty good deal. So before we do our big announcement, we are going to jump on a quick game here before we start, and that is the Canada-Honduras World Cup qualifier that's going to be starting in about 5 minutes. So you still have time to make your bet. Canada's at minus 193. Honduras at plus 600, and a draw is at plus 300. So, Andy, what do you think of those odds?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know much about international soccer. Anytime you can get a draw at plus odds, I'd probably take the draw. I think, obviously be a lower scoring game. So I'd like the draw at plus 300.
I'm going to go with Canada here to pull it out. I know that Honduras is claiming foul on a bunch of different topics, like that CONCACAF is favoring Canada and how Montreal didn't treat one of their star players well. But it's CONCACAF; they aren't. That's kind of stupid in my opinion. So go with Canada on this one. Okay, so let's make our big announcement here. So as you may have seen on Twitter, we are going to be running a little bit of a contest today. So here's how you win. The contest, you win 2 tickets to a BC Lions home game. It can be any home game throughout the season. And we'll get into that a little bit later. The winner will message me, and then I can inform them on a little bit more of the details. But we're going to give you a hashtag in a couple seconds. Now, what you need to do is you need to make any bet on the bet99.com website with the Area 51 link. If you already used it, that's fine. Make sure that you make that bet. You have to share a picture of your Bet99 bet with the hashtag, and then you have to tag Area 51 in there as well. So you just put that up on Facebook, show us that you made the bet, and then you just include the hashtag. So because it is Lions themed, we are going to show you the code word, and we're going to have it going along the bottom for the entire show. So Andy, would you like to tell the viewers what the code word is?
Yeah, the code word is UFO Roar, I believe, right?
Yes, hashtag UFO Roar. So all you have to do is take that photo of your bet, screenshot that bet, use the code word hashtag UFO Roar on Twitter, tag Area 51 Sports Network, and then we will hold this probably open until Saturday. We'll pick a winner, and then we'll contact you guys to get your free tickets.
Make sure you tag the Area 51 account too.
Yes. You can put hashtag UFO Show if you want. We just need to know that you guys are entering our contest, because we want to make sure that everybody gets the same opportunity. And no, as Chris says, my announcement isn't that I'm going to draft Marcus Mariota in the first round, despite the fact that he is better than Derek Carr, and that he is a better option than Derek Carr for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I think we'll probably stay away from Las Vegas Raiders bets for the first few weeks, and then we might circle back on Mariota if he becomes the starter.
So because we are running a CFL contest, why don't we start a little bit with some CFL talk? Now, we have 4 games this week. The BC Lions, sure. Yeah, the BC Lions are off. They have their bye week. So we'll start with the Ottawa Red Blacks at Montreal Alouettes. So Ottawa is at plus 200. Montreal's at minus 304. Now, Ottawa, they're not a good team, but they've kept in games. So that plus 200 is enticing. But in the Montreal, they've been up and down so far in the early weeks of the season. So what do you think of this bet?
Yeah, I'm kind of on your train. I think, on paper, excuse me, on paper, Montreal's a better team, but at minus 304, I don't really see any benefit to making that bet. So I'd probably take Ottawa plus 200.
Yeah, I'm actually leaning a little bit towards that as well. Ottawa plus 200 is a pretty good bet, especially because it's the CFL. Okay, let's move over to Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. We got Saskatchewan minus 228, Winnipeg plus 160. This is surprising because Winnipeg is the beast of the West in the CHL, or CFL, sorry. And I'm going with Winnipeg on this one at plus 160. I don't see how Saskatchewan is the favorite.
Yeah, I'm also taking Winnipeg at home plus odds. It's a bet I make every time.
And remember, there's added interest to this game because all of these are the Labor Day Classic games. So all of these are rivalry games. These teams hate each other, and it's sure to be a good one. So there's 2 more. We got Hamilton and Toronto. Hamilton's at minus 145. Toronto's at plus 104. Both teams are very good. I guess, yeah, Hamilton is kind of a little bit better. So that's where I would be leaning. But this is really a toss-up. It's kind of whoever you're feeling like.
Yeah, I'd probably take Hamilton on that one. But like you said, you can't really go wrong picking either side.
Yeah, and then the last game of the week, which is going to be a very interesting game, is the Calgary Stampeders at minus 286 and Edmonton at plus 195. Now, there's a couple of things to note about this game. First off, Edmonton had the 9 players that tested positive, and their game was postponed until November from last week. Calgary, also, sorry, one more thing about Edmonton. They released a player for not following the COVID guidelines. He was one of their better offensive linemen. So their offensive line is a little bit shaky at the moment. But Calgary, on the other hand, they've been playing with their backup quarterbacks, but it might be that Bo Levi Mitchell finally returns. So this one is an interesting one that they have Calgary at minus 286 because I'm thinking that they're saying Bo Levi.
I think we lost Adam there, but I think what he was going to say was, minus 286, Bo Levi Mitchell must be coming back. If that's the case, I still like Calgary in this game, minus 286. I think
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I was just saying, I think you froze up, and I think what you were going to say is that Calgary, if they get Bo Levi Mitchell back, is probably the reason why they're at minus 286.
Yes, exactly.
There we go.
We'll see. Hopefully Bo Levi Mitchell is playing because if Bo Levi Mitchell is playing, the CFL is a better league. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably arguably the best player in the league, so it'd be hard pressed to bet against him. That's for sure.
Okay, so why don't we move into? We've done our CFL talk. Why don't we move a little bit into baseball? So Andy, why don't you throw out some interesting bets that we have this for the next couple of days?
Mm-hmm. So an interesting bet here I'm looking at is Kansas City Royals versus Cleveland Indians. That game is tonight. Both teams are minus 110 on the money line. However, if you take Cleveland at home minus 1.5 runs, it pays it at plus 145. Cleveland, they're not really a great team. They're not a brutal team. Like Kansas City is pretty bad. Kind of one of those games. I think, Cleveland's bats are a little bit better than Kansas City. I would be interested in taking Cleveland minus 1.5 runs at plus 145. Other game here that I like. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold today. Blue Jays are in Oakland. Oakland is plus 115 on the money line with Sean Manaea pitching, who's, now that Chris Bassett is injured for Oakland, probably their best pitcher. So anytime you can get, again, like I said, a home team with the better pitcher on the mound at plus odds, I would take Oakland. So again, that's Oakland at plus 115. Third game I like here, just browsing the list here. Third game I like here is the Padres in Houston. Jake Arrieta's had an absolutely terrible year. He got cut by the Cubs. The Cubs are nowhere near the playoffs. He got rocked last time he played for the Padres. I know Houston is minus 150 here, but I would take Houston on the money line minus 150. And if you give Houston some runs here, even at minus 1 run for Houston, it's still minus 120. So in this, I'd probably do a parlay. Houston on the money line minus 150, and Houston giving 1 run minus 120.
So I do apologize if the show is a little bit choppy. There have been some internet issues in the Lower Mainland today, so I think I might be experiencing some of those right now.
Yeah, no worries. They were terrible for me the last few days, so
yeah,
no worries at all. I just going through our games here that I liked and sort of the reasoning. I think the biggest game for me in this list, it's kind of surprising, to be honest, is the Blue Jays on the road at Oakland. I took Oakland plus 115 at home. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that, Adam. I know you're not a huge baseball guy, but what do you think about that one?
Well, I'm a Mariners fan, so I'm going to say that Oakland, I need Oakland to win, or I need Oakland to lose. I think that's kind of the Mariners' way at the moment. Like, the Mariners are kind of screwed because everybody who needs to lose is playing each other at the moment. So I don't know. It's really a toss-up, but I think that you would take the Blue Jays to beat the Oakland A's. I think that's, like, if you're a Mariners fan, that's the one that you want to go with.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess we're taking different picks here. Still have a few minutes left in the show. I'm just going to pull up the NCAA football odds. We have week 1 this week. If I can get my internet working, speaking of internet issues. Week 1 betting in NCAA is a little bit tricky just because you do get a lot of what I call cupcake programs. You get like Southeastern Mississippi State goes into Alabama or something. So playing the money line in these games straight up, I find, doesn't bring a lot of value. You really have to look at the point spread. And I'm just looking here. I was looking earlier. There's a few point spreads that I do like in this game.
So you're saying that you shouldn't bet on, what's it called? Whatever it's called, the fake school?
Yeah, I would not be betting on Bishop Sycamore. That was a crazy story. But yes, I strongly would recommend against betting straight up on the money line. Some of these teams, like, for example, excuse me, on Saturday morning, Fresno State is plus 900 to win that game. That's a bet I would avoid at all costs. Now, if you're going to look at Oregon Ducks, Fresno State, I'd probably take Fresno State getting 20.5 points. So basically 3 touchdowns. They come out with a 3-touchdown lead to start the game. It only pays minus 110, but if you were looking to bet on Oregon, Fresno State, that would definitely be the way to go rather than straight up money line.
Yeah, I find with the NCAA that you never bet on over under and you never bet on money line. You just bet on straight up because it's so unpredictable. What is it? It was an anniversary a couple years ago of Appalachian State beating Michigan. These seem to happen all the time.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was gonna throw out some future bets for you here.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say with that big of an underdog, I think Appalachian State was still a Div 2 team at that point. That might be one where if you want to throw $5 down on a plus 25,000 odd to try to win. I mean, if it hits, you make a lot of money, but you probably have better luck just taking your $5 and sending it on flyer. It's happened so rare.
So I'm going to throw out a couple of programs here, their regular season win totals. So we got the Florida Gators at over 8.5 is minus 50, under 8.5 plus 121. Do you think the Gators can get to 9 wins this year?
Yeah, I think 8.5 is a pretty solid line for them. Obviously, they lost Kyle Pitts. I think he was the 4th overall pick in the draft this year to Atlanta. On this one, purely for the odds play, I'd probably take the under.
That's a pretty good pick. Why don't we do the Pac-12 winner, the regular season? We got the Oregon Ducks at minus 112 and the Washington Huskies at plus 115. The other teams are just way out of contention according to the bettors. So are you taking the Ducks or are you going a little bit closer to home with the Washington Huskies?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Ducks. I think Oregon has right now projected probably 3 first-round picks. Very early in the scouting season, they could go up or down, but I think their high-end talent is better. They typically have a pretty easy time with their in-conference, in-division opponents. So I take Oregon on that in that future bet for sure.
And then let's jump over to the SEC. We got the Alabama Crimson Tide minus 385. Then you got Texas A&M at plus 400 and LSU at plus 880. Do you think Alabama holds it on, or do you think Texas A&M can take the crown from them?
Yeah, I mean, again, a pretty boring bet, but Alabama is basically an NFL team every year. They have so many talented players. LSU, ever since they lost Joe Burrow, has been kind of struggling to find that next super elite quarterback. Again, Texas A&M, they're kind of up and down. I just don't see how Alabama can lose that conference, to be honest with you. They have a legitimate chance to go undefeated again this year. So I know the odds suck, but I would be taking Alabama.
Well, also, doesn't LSU have some issues with their COVID protocols where it's like they don't want to follow them properly? Or I know there were some issues a couple weeks ago when it came to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the, not to get political here, but kind of the general scene down in the southern United States. All those states have, let's call them, less than stringent COVID protocols, and even the protocols that are in play don't really get followed too much, it seems like, by a lot of the coaches and players. So, it raises a point we made last week about COVID affecting the betting lines. College football, I didn't even think about it, but that could be a huge factor in, who you take and who you don't take on lines, right? Like, for example, let's say Ed Oregon or Randon, I always say his name wrong, the head coach of LSU gets COVID and has to sit out a game or two. I probably feel a lot less confident in making that bet on LSU that week. I mean, obviously depending on the opponent, but that could be a huge swing in who you take on bets or money lines or whatever, right? So it is definitely something to watch for sure.
Yeah, and let's say that your starting quarterback goes down with COVID, then your whole entire quarterback room is out. We saw it where, an assistant coach had to play quarterback this past week.
Yeah, I forget who the team was there. Adam just froze up again, but they had a graduate assistant have to step in and play quarterback because they lost all 4 of their quarterbacks to COVID protocols. So obviously that's less than ideal in a big time school like LSU or Alabama or something. I'm sure they have receivers or defensive backs who played quarterback in high school. I don't think it'd be as big of a concern, but like we saw in the NFL last year, the Denver Broncos had to use a practice squad receiver at quarterback, and they were basically toast by kickoff, right? So although the transition might be a little bit easier in college, anytime you have a non-quarterback playing quarterback, you're behind at a huge disadvantage. So it's never good. And like you said, Adam, it could really affect the betting lines if all of a sudden you have your third string corner playing quarterback in one of these SEC games.
So before we wrap up here, once again, make sure to head over to Bet99 Sportsbook, bet99.com, and our Area 51 Sports Network.com/betting. Initial deposit, you get up to $600 back, so make sure you do that. And to enter our contest, once again, the code word is #UFO. take a photo with your bet, tag the Area 51 Sports Network with the code word, and you could win some BC Lions tickets. So before we finish up this week, bet99.com is offering the special boosted odds on stage of elimination for each NFL team. So Andy, why don't you throw me a couple teams and we'll try to figure out what the stage of elimination this season is gonna hit them.
Sure. Let's start with Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, so Seahawks at plus 110 is to not make the playoffs. Plus 260 is to lose in the wild card. Plus 450 is to lose in the divisional round. Plus 900 is to lose in the championship round. And we got plus 1,600 1,600 to lose in the Super Bowl. Now, they don't have the win Super Bowl is plus 2,500. So where do you think the Seahawks land this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Seahawks probably can win a wild card game. So I'd be looking at losing in the divisional round. With the expanded playoff field now, one extra team is going to sneak in. NFC isn't super strong this year, at least not as strong as the AFC. I think they can probably win one playoff game. I don't see them winning two. So I'd be looking at the divisional stage there. Okay,
why don't we jump? I think that they, if they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to go to the conference final. I don't know. I just have that feeling that they might lose in the conference final because they've really improved their defense. Their offensive line is a little bit better with their pickups lately. And I just think Metcalf and Lockett are very underrated when it comes to a receiving tandem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's jump over to your Las Vegas Raider. You're in Malcolm's Las Vegas Raiders.
How dare you say I'm a Las Vegas Raiders fan? Insulting.
If you don't know, Malcolm over at Point Shot Hockey is a huge Las Vegas Raiders fan. So right now, the betting odd at minus 500 is for them to not make the playoffs. Do you think that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to make the playoffs in that tough division?
I don't. I mean, honestly, I think they're probably the third best team in their division behind the Chargers and the Chiefs. You look at the rest of the AFC. The AFC North is probably going to have two, maybe even three representatives, with Baltimore, I think being the favorite there. AFC East, Buffalo is going to make the playoffs. Does New England step up? Do the Dolphins take a step? AFC South is a real wild card because, I mean, the Colts have a good defense, but they're also led by unvaccinated Carson Wentz. How does that affect things? Houston and their quarterback, is he going to be traded? Are they going to keep Watson? Who knows? Tennessee, I think, again, is probably going to win that division. So I think the Raiders have too many teams ahead of them. So I would take them to miss the playoffs at minus 500.
I'll leave it at this. I think they're going to miss the playoffs unless they play Marcus Mariota. Then they have a chance.
This guy and Marcus Mariota. We should look up his odds for
I don't even think they have any.
Yeah, I don't think they list backup quarterbacks for MVP.
No, they just laugh when I look up his odds. Okay, so Andy's real favorite team, the Green Bay Packers. We'll wrap it up on this one. So right now, we have plus 210 for them not to make the playoffs, plus 275 to lose in wild card round, plus 300 lose in the divisional round, plus 700 to lose in the championship round, plus 1,000 to lose in the Super Bowl, or plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl. Now, taking your heart out of the bet, where do you think the Green Bay Packers end up?
Yeah, I mean, I said, I think it was when we had Bick on a couple weeks ago, maybe, that I said the Packers were, or no, it was on my podcast this week. Excuse me. I said the Packers are my pick to win the Super Bowl. If they don't win the Super Bowl, I see them losing in the NFC Championship again at plus 700. I think they win their division easily, probably challenge for the number one seed in the NFC, which gives them the wild card round bye. Divisional round again, weaker NFC. I could see them playing somebody like Seattle in that round and kicking their ass. If they get to the Super Bowl, I don't think there's any chance Rodgers loses that game. I think he'll do everything in his power to win that game. So if you don't like the Packers to win the Super Bowl, I'd say lose an NFC Championship at plus 700.
So you have the Packers winning or making it to the championship. I got the Seahawks making it to the championship. So do we see a rematch of a few years ago where the Seahawks pulled off that overtime play along with a John Ryan touchdown to beat the Packers and make it to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Richard Rodgers still haunts my dreams on that. He just, why would you try to catch the onside kick, to throw your block and let the receiver fall on the ball and the game's over? But yeah, I mean, it is possible. Like I said, the NFC doesn't really have like a clear-cut favorite. I mean, I guess you could say Tampa Bay, but I could very easily see the Seahawks and the Packers lining up in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, well, let's hope. That would be a pretty good matchup. Russ versus Rodgers is never a bad matchup. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. Two of the best, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in the league. It's hard to beat that.
One bet that I think Bet99 should have is that the big news out of Vancouver today is that they let go of their DJ to creative differences. Bet99 should have a bet going, a prop bet. Who's going to be the next Canuck in-house DJ? Now that's a question for sure.
Minus 500 on Jim Benning. He does everything else. Might as well let him do that.
Yeah, it's going to be like Francesco's son or a nephew who wants to be like a rap star one day or a hip hop star one day.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I think that will wrap it up. Andy, do you have any more big bets that we want to throw out there for anybody looking to cash in a little bit this week?
Yeah, the only bet I have, and I can't find it listed here on Bet99 right now, but I do not like Tennessee Volunteers college football. They've had so much change, including coaching and just kind of COVID, everything. I would be betting against them at all costs to lose. As I say that, they're up 7-0 versus Bowling Green right now. But if you can find any way to get any action on Bowling Green, especially right now, it looks like they're plus 43.5 on the spread. I would be all over that. I think Tennessee is going to lose this game. That would be a pick of college football week 1.
Well, thank you once again for joining us this week. Hopefully you guys can win some money off of our bets, and make sure to enter into the contest using the code #UFORoar. Take a screenshot, a photo of your Bet99 Sportsbook bet. Could be anything in the world of sports, and hopefully we will get a winner by Saturday to win some free BC Lions tickets. Who doesn't love some free sporting tickets?
That's right.
Okay, so for Andy, I'm Adam, and thank you once again for joining us this week on the UFO Show.